I'm Victor Lucas from the Electric Playground, and I'm with Destin Daniel Cretton, and we are talking about the movie that he has just directed, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. How are you feeling right now, Destin? People have been waiting for this movie for a long time.
Well, I'm one of those people who have been waiting for this movie to come out for a long time, so I feel very, very excited to be at this point.
Congratulations. I was absolutely blown away by the film. I saw it a couple of days ago. It's beautiful in every sense of the word. And I feel like I have to see it multiple times to kind of get all of the details and all of the incredible pieces of entertainment you've put all the way through this film. Was that deliberate? Did you want to create something that kind of asked the viewers to see it multiple times?
I hope people go back and see it multiple times and get more from each screening. Those are my favorite types of movies that have enough care put into the details of the production design and the wardrobe and the music and the cinematography. And our team was so extraordinary on this movie to weave storylines and little clues and Easter eggs they're everywhere in this movie. So yes. I think multiple viewings you will soak up quite a bit in this film.
What I love about this movie, and it's true about a lot of Marvel movies, I would have been happy with just a film about Sean and Katie as valets. You made a great piece just out of that. I thought that was super fun.
Oh, well, I would watch that movie too. I mean, that is what I think, whether we know it or not. I think that is the reason we continue to fall in love with these characters in these giant Marvel action-packed movies, is because they care equally about the relationships and humanizing these characters in a way that makes them feel very relatable.
How do you think, from your own vantage point, Shang-Chi kind of fits into the wider landscape of the MCU?
For us, it was extremely important to not only capture the respect of the culture and the respect of the rich history of martial arts movies that came before us, but it was equally important to make sure that Shang-Chi, in the end of this movie, would be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with all the other great superheroes in the MCU. I think it would have been a disservice to every community, the Marvel community and the Asian American community, to not have Shang-Chi reach that level by the end of this movie. And I feel extremely excited to the possibilities that are ahead of this character.
The mythical and supernatural and otherworldly elements of the film are an incredible surprise. And I'm wondering, about the research that goes into that. Was it based on, Chinese mythology, or was it an interpretation of it? How did you bring those characters and these creatures to life?
Most of the inspiration for this movie found its roots in the comic books in one way or another. And you people who are familiar with either the Shang-Chi comics or some were taken from other comic books within the Marvel universe, and you'll see those kind of sewn throughout this movie. Of course, there is also a lot of inspiration pulled from Chinese mythology and other films that came before us from the East, and a lot of you'll find a lot of Easter eggs planted throughout that are referenced from some of our great and favorite movies of that genre.
That is fantastic. I asked my followers on Twitter if they had any questions for you, and I've got a couple here that I would like to ask. Would love to hear your thoughts on the previs that happens on Marvel projects like this. Is it a help, or do you have some freedom to kind of alter things as you go? And this is from Reeve S. Thompson.
Previs was something I've never done before, but it's an incredible tool, and it actually it isn't like someone just goes off and does a previs and hands it to you and says, shoot this. It's actually a tool that directors use to develop ideas and see what could work and what maybe doesn't work before you have the pressure of having everyone on set and shooting it. So it's a very collaborative back and forth process between myself, typically starting with a storyboard artist to get the general beats of a sequence, and then depending on whether it is a martial arts sequence, which typically cannot be done in previs, that goes to the stunt choreographers to do a fight viz, and often that is combined with previs of the big explosions or creature creation, and you have the ability to kind of piece it all together in a mock-up that it either makes sense or you find out it doesn't work and you keep tweaking it until it feels good. And then when you're on set, it's sometimes you end up throwing the previs out the door depending on what the sun is doing or what the cameras are doing, or if the characters are if the actors are feeling something completely different. But at least you have this skeletal plan to work from, which is pretty necessary on a film set.
The fight sequences and the stunts are just spectacular in this film, and they're shot really, really well. Did you study a lot of martial arts work to kind of get a feel for where the camera should be positioned? Because one of the things that's clear with this movie is the verticality and the way that the camera has to, move with superhuman abilities in mind. And it's breathtaking as a viewer. You're just like, oh my God, where am I going next? It's incredible.
I'm glad you feel that way. The smartest thing that we did was hire amazing people who have a very rich history in this type of filmmaking. And Brad Allen, the head of our action design team, was trained in Jackie Chan's camp. And with our first meeting with him, I could just see very clearly that he had an ingrained respect for all of the movies that came before us in the martial arts and kung fu genre, and he wanted to pay proper respect to those movies. He also was trained in a way that was not just punching and kicking and explosions. In the camp of Jackie Chan, they are trained storytellers first, and
right.
That's how his brain was always thinking when trying to create these sequences. What are the setups? What are the payoffs? What are the characters doing in the sequence? Where do we want them to be at the end of the sequence? And in terms of the camera work, we had Bill Pope with us, who shot.
He's done a few things.
Yeah, he's done a few things. You just start with The Matrix, and it's like the guy knows how to shoot action in a way that you can actually describe as beautiful, and it was such a pleasure to learn from him. Destin,
you've created a real gift to the MCU franchise. It's a spectacular movie in its own right. I can't wait for the world to see it, and you really, really entertained me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.